friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and Elwing and I are here today to talk to you about a couple books that are really special. They have very different stories and characters and things like that, but there's one common thing that links them all together. And that thing that links them all together is actually the theme of what we're going to be talking about today, and that is Banned Books Week. So Banned Books Week is a week that usually happens the third week of every September. This year it's a little bit different. They've moved it to the first week in October, but that's okay. I wanted to talk about it a little bit early anyway, because then if you haven't been aware of what's going on or you don't know about Banned Books Week, it'll give you time to read some stuff, maybe the books that are going to be talked about today, and just to be basically more aware of stuff like this that's going on. So what is Banned Books Week? Is it a week where we're like talking about how we want books to be banned and taken? No, absolutely not. It's the total opposite of that. So basically, it is a week every year where everybody that loves books, like that could be publishers, booksellers, teachers, librarians, and readers just like you, all celebrate the freedom to read, the freedom that you have the right to read what you want to read. So why do we have a week like this? Well, it started back in the 80s, and it was in response to a lot of books starting to be challenged and banned, which book banning and censorship is not a new phenomenon. It's been going on for literally hundreds of years, but the last few years it's gotten really, really bad. And it is an issue right now that is across the whole country. It's not limited to just one or two states. It's literally, I think it was like 32 different states total, and it's something nationwide that we're dealing with right now. So between July of 2021 and June of 2022, over 2,500 individual books have been banned. Now, that is from 2022. We don't have the numbers yet on 2023, but it is estimated that it has been risen by quite a bit. And Penn National estimates that about 4 million students have been affected by these book bans nationwide. So not only are books being challenged, books being banned, but there's also lots of legislation that is targeting teachers and librarians who choose to have these books in their schools or have them in their libraries. So it's a very scary time right now. And like I said, book banning isn't anything new. It can be comforting to think of that, to know that it has always been going on, it has always happened, and it's, something that is not just relegated to this time period, but it has gotten a lot worse, particularly in the last couple years. So it's important to think about these topics and these books that are being, people are trying to take out of schools and libraries and things like that. So the books that I want to talk about today, there's 3 of them. And I chose them particularly because they are books that landed on the top 10 most challenged books of last year, 2022. So actually, this year was a little bit different because there was 13 books total. The ALA, the American Library Association, always does a top 10 list every year of the most banned books the previous year, and there's always 10. Well, this year it's 13 because a couple of the titles were tied for certain numbers. So there's 13 books. You can go to their website if you want to read the entire list of what they are. I have a couple here today that I want to talk about, and I have read all 3 of them. I've actually read most of the ones that are on the list. And the library does carry them all. So if you're interested, once you read, what list of books have been the most banned, if you want to read them, the library does carry them. So the books I want to talk about today, specifically, there's 3 of them. The first one is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Now, I picked this book because, number one, it is on the banned book. It is on the top 10, top 13 list of most banned books last year. And also because I think that it's very interesting that a book that is older, right? This book came out in, I think, in the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken, 1998, 1999. And that a book like that is still, 1999, that a book like that came out over 20 some years ago is still being not only challenged and banned, but to the extent that it is. This is a very small sliver of a book. It is not long at all, but it packs such a heavy punch. And really, the story is not anything like super remarkable. It's a story of this young man as he, traverses his high school life and it's told as a like a diary, like he's writing it down in a diary. So it's his personal thoughts about what is going on in school and in his life. So there's a lot going on in here. The reason it's banned so frequently is because of profanity, because of drinking, and sex in it. So it's just a story of a young man's travels through high school, the different experiences that he goes through, you know, meeting a girlfriend, having friends, you know, family stuff, mental health issues. It's a very important book, I think, because it really makes you feel like no matter what you're going through, even if you're not experiencing any of the things that this character is going through, it just makes you feel like you're not alone. There's something about this book and something about this main character that just seems to like reach out of the pages and just give you a big hug. I don't know how else to explain it, but even if you are somebody, like I said, who has not experienced some of the stuff that he talks about in this book, I think that it's the universal experience of being a young person that really, really comes across and just thrives in this story. So it's a really, really wonderful book. I'm absolutely flabbergasted that it's continuously still being banned. I mean, of course, there are historical books still on the list that keep getting banned, but something like this that came out 20-some years ago, like I said, just feels very odd to me. But there was also a movie too. I haven't seen the movie. That's what this cover actually has some of the people that were in the movie. I never saw it, but I've heard that it's good, so it's worth, you know, giving it a watch, I think. But the book definitely fantastic. Perks of Being a Wallflower. This was tied for, I believe, number 5. Number 5. The next one I want to read or want to talk about, I believe, was number 4 on the list, and it's called Flamer by Mike Curato. Now, this is a graphic novel, which, you know, is a fairly new phenomenon, I think, of books being banned as graphic novels. There's a lot of popularity with graphic novels, especially in the last few years. So as their popularity grows, I think the instances of them getting challenged and banned has risen as well. So this book, when I first read it, it totally took my breath away. So it is a lot thicker. It's a bigger of a book, but it's a graphic novel, so it does go by pretty quickly. This is another young adult book. All 3 of these books are young adult books, by the way. Predominantly the books on the most banned books of last year are young adult books. But they are books that I think speak for a very large demographic and are very valuable for people of older ages to read as well, not just young people. So there's a blurb at the top of this book that says, "This book will save lives." And 100% yes, resounding scream of yes. I also believe that this book will save lives. It took my breath away when I first read it. It is the story of Aiden, who is this boy who is getting ready to, it's the summer before going into high school. He's going to Catholic school his whole life. And this summer before school starts in a couple weeks, and he's at this camp. So the whole story takes place at this camp. And basically this book was banned because of LGBTQ issues, and because there are lots of, you know, there are boys going into high school. There's lots of talk about masturbation, and there's lots of fart jokes and poop and stuff like that. And, you know, lots of slur words and curse words and stuff like that. They're high school boys. It's, you know, kind of par for the course. So this book is about Aiden and his experiences at camp, but mostly it's about his understanding the fact that he is gay. And it's something that he has been fighting against for a long time. It's something that he has always believed because of his religion to be wrong and sinful. And all of that is coming to a head during this camp experience. He's learning to value himself as a person. He's learning to trust his instincts. He's learning to be who he is, whoever that might be, and to love himself. That is the most important thing about this book, is that he has a lot of self-hatred in this story, because of who he is. And he learns to love himself. And that, no matter who you are or what issues you're experiencing, that's an amazing feeling, right? Loving yourself. So I also really liked the illustrations for it. They were black and white, very down to earth. But every once in a while, whenever we're talking about fire or anything like that, the colors just leap off the pages. Bright oranges, right? So it's a really fantastic story. I just absolutely think it's phenomenal. And every time I think of it, I think of the blurb at the top that says this book will save lives, because I really think it will. I think if you're a young person, or you know a young person who hasn't been around, other people like them, this book will make them feel like they are not alone, and that they, that there are other people like them, that it's okay to be who they are. It's absolutely fantastic. Flamer. And the last book I want to talk about is another one that I still can't believe is on the top 10 list, because this came out in, I want to say, 2004, 2005. So another book that's a little bit older. And it's one of my favorite young adult books, hands down. Whenever I'm asked, do you have a favorite book that's been banned? It's always this one that I want to talk about, because it's one of my favorite young adult books, period. And I can't get over the fact that it's banned. Looking for Alaska by John Green. You've probably heard of John Green. He wrote The Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, this one. He's written a lot of really great books for young people. He also has a really great internet, social media presence. He's just really kind, awesome person in general. This is my personal favorite book of his. I know The Fault in Our Stars is a favorite for many people, but this one really hit me. I don't know, it's just something about it I absolutely love. So it's a story of a boy named, again, it's another story that is just very simple when you're describing it, but it has a lot of depth to it. It's a story about a boy named Miles who doesn't have a lot of friends. He's kind of a loner, a little bit antisocial, and he starts going to this new school. And it's about him and the group of people that he falls in with at this new school, including this girl named Alaska, who is just this brilliant, like, fiery ball of a girl. Like, she's quirky and eccentric and wonderful, and she helps to bring him out of his shell, and just the whole experience of going to this new school bringing him out of his shell. And it's banned because of profanity, because of underage drinking, because of sex. It's not anything that's graphic, I didn't think, when I read it. I still am completely flabbergasted, not only that this book has been banned so much, but that it is still on the top 10 book list of books that have been banned. There's something that happens in the middle of this book that I can't give away, because it's just really part of the experience of reading it. And it absolutely shattered me. This book is one of the first books I remember reading that tore my heart right out of my chest, and then mended it and put it back together again. And that sounds like a really weird, painful experience, and it was, but it was also like exhilarating and profound, and I will never ever stop thinking about the way this book affected me. And I felt so close to these characters and experiencing what they are experiencing and what they went through. It's an amazing book. Highly, highly recommended if you haven't read it. It's not very long. It's a pretty short book. I don't think it even reaches 300, barely over 200 pages. So definitely recommend this. If you haven't read anything by John Green, or if you have read some of his other works and you haven't read this, definitely give this one a shot. It is phenomenal. It, like I said, it is not only one of my favorite banned books, it is one of my favorite young adult books of all time ever. So, so good. Looking for Alaska. Well, those are what we have to talk to you about today. I hope that these books are really interesting, and if they're not things that you've read already, or even if they are things that you've read and you want to maybe revisit them for Banned Books Week or in the weeks leading up to Banned Books Week, please feel free to do that. And I know people all the time are always asking, like, well, what can I do about this issue? What can I do about books being banned? And really the number one thing you can do is to just stay aware. To be aware of what's going on, pay attention to what's going on in your own area, and bringing awareness to these issues by reading books that are banned, like the ones we talked about today, or some other ones. Like I said, more of that information is all on the ALA's website, the American Library Association. So I hope that these books sound really interesting and that you'll give them a shot. All of them are available at Farmington Community Library, as well as the other books on the top 10 list. So I hope you'll give them a chance. And thank you so much for watching, friends. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.